The Cambrian explosion is important because many present-day animal phyla appeared in fossils around 523 to 525 million years ago. This is referred to as the Cambrian explosion. So prior to all this, all animals were soft-bodied, so they didn't have very much protection. But during this time period, predation began to occur. So instead of just like living without like actually eating any of the other organisms, they began to feed on each other, and this would cause morphological changes. So what kind of changes in the organisms do you think would happen if there started being predation? Someone other than Sam? Jack?
They would have to adapt ways to hide from predators, right?
Anything with like the body, do you think, John?
They could develop ways to become more intimidating. Like, for example, like I think like peacocks have like fake eyes all over their feathers.
Okay, Sam?
Shells?
Yeah, that's what we were pretty much going for. So some animals, like the predators, they started to form claws so that they could capture the prey, and then the prey had to form defensive mechanisms to ensure that they wouldn't be eaten, such as sharp spines or body armor, such as like shells.
Yeah, remember the Cambrian explosion because that's really important for my part of the section. So keep that in mind. Thanks, Jack.
So the next step in Earth's history is the colonization of land. So large forms of life didn't colonize land until 500 million years ago, which is actually relatively recent when you consider the fact that everything we've been talking about up to now has been billions of years ago. So transitions to land occurred through adaptations that made it possible to reproduce on land and that helped prevent dehydration. Because you got to think about it, if most of these organisms were used to living in the water, to be suddenly taken out of the water, they'd have to find some way to make sure that they can retain that water once they're outside. So example would be that the land plants developed a vascular system to transport materials, so that way they, so if they're not submerged in the water, they have a way to transport it to all their parts. They also developed films on like their leaves, so kind of like wax that helped prevent too much water from escaping. Plants also colonized land with fungi. The fungi aided the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. So while the fungi turned organic material from plants, the fungi in turn got organic materials from the plants, and the most widespread and diverse land animals are arthropods and tetrapods. So I think Sophia mentioned what a tetrapod was. Does anyone remember what it is? Sam?
4 limbs.
Yeah, and then arthropods are just insects and spiders.
What does it mean to be an arthropod?
They have like a hard, like outside type shell.
Yeah, the exoskeleton.
So arthropods were among the first to colonize land, and then tetrapods followed later, and they seem to have evolved from a group of lobe-finned fish. So, I mean, you can kind of see as colonizing land happened, these like fish adapted, and their fins turned into legs so that they could walk on land.
Alright. So clearly over the course of the earth, we've seen the rise and fall of several different types of organisms, and an example of this can be like the anaerobic prokaryotes originated, flourished, and then declined as the oxygen content of the atmosphere rose. And these and other changes in life on Earth have been influenced by continental drifts, mass extinctions, and adaptive radiations. So, all right. Basically, although we think that the plates of our Earth are rock solid, they move over time, and even though it's a very, very insignificant amount that they move. And since the origin of multicellular eukaryotes, which was about 1.5 billion years ago, there have been 3 occasions in which we can see the continents moving, and each time we get different configurations of the continents. So from this, geologists are able to estimate that the continents will come together again and form a new supercontinent roughly 250 million years from now.
Yeah, don't the continents drift like an inch a year?
Yeah,
Roughly.
they said it's like it was like 2 centimeters a year, not even an inch.
Yeah, it's about the same as your nail growth.
Yeah. Okay. So the continents are part of the Great Plates of the Earth's crust that essentially float on a hot underlying